Ever wished you could just download a new skill, like straight into your brain, Matrix style?
Ah, wouldn't that be something?
Right. Well, we might not be plugging into the Matrix just yet, but these muscle memory gloves are getting us pretty darn close.
They really are fascinating, aren't they?
Totally. I mean, they're changing how we learn new things, how we recover from injuries, even how we experience virtual reality.
All from a glove.
It's mind-blowing. So today we're diving deep into an essay called Cyborg Revolution Muscle Memory Glove.
Oh, yeah. By Jörg-Owe. That's a great one.
It really is. We'll unpack the science behind it all, the impact this tech is having, the whole shebang.
Lots to talk about.
Absolutely. Get ready for some serious aha moments, folks.
You know, one of the things that struck me about Schneppat's essay is how he ties the history of this field to what's happening now.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, he points out that this whole concept of muscle memory, it's not actually new.
Right.
Athletes, for example, they've been relying on muscle memory for centuries, really. I mean, think about it. A baseball pitcher perfecting their throw, that's muscle memory in action.
Makes sense.
But what's really exciting now is that we're figuring out how to use technology to, harness that natural process, that biological process.
It's like we're taking something our bodies already do and amplifying it.
Exactly. And Schneppat actually traces that idea, the whole line of thinking, back to the mid-20th century.
Okay.
To the birth of cybernetics.
Cybernetics. Now, remind me, that's the study of...
It's all about understanding control systems, really, both in living organisms and in machines.
Ah, right.
And it was these early cybernetics pioneers, folks like Norbert Wiener and Heinz von Forster, they were the ones who really paved the way, started seeing these amazing parallels between, say, our brains, biological systems and complex machines.
Wow.
They basically opened up this whole new way of thinking about how we could use technology to influence and, enhance human performance.
So essentially, cybernetics led to muscle memory gloves.
In a way, yeah, it's like this thread that runs through history. Yeah. And Schneppat does such a great job of highlighting that progression.
Oh, yeah.
He even gets into the nitty-gritty of a specific type of glove, one developed by the Advanced Surface Robots Laboratory.
Ooh, the detail.
And this is where it gets really cool. This glove uses a material called shape memory alloy. SMA, for short.
SMA. Okay, now that sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. What is that exactly?
Picture this. A metal that can, remember, its original shape.
Okay.
You can bend it, twist it, whatever, but you apply a little heat, and boom, it snaps right back to how it was before.
Wow.
Pretty neat, right? Schneppat explains that this SMA stuff, it's what allows them to make these gloves so lightweight and compact. Not clunky like those big, bulky robot hands you might imagine.
Right. Comfort is key.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got this shape-shifting metal in the glove. But how does that actually translate into controlling your hand movements?
The million-dollar question.
It sounds super complex.
It is, definitely. But Schneppat breaks it down pretty well. So basically, the glove uses this combination of on-off switching with something called proportional integral control, which in engineering lingo we call PI control. And all that, it basically allows for really smooth, really natural hand movements.
So it's not just like open and close, clench and unclench.
No, it's way more subtle than that. It can mimic all those little nuances in how we move our fingers.
Amazing.
It really is.
But does it work? I mean, I know we're geeking out over here, but is there actual evidence that this stuff is effective?
Well, Schneppat mentions that they've actually tested this glove with healthy individuals, and the results are really promising.
That's great.
Yeah, they've seen it successfully assist with things like grasping objects, things of different shapes and sizes. So it's not just some cool concept, it's already showing real-world potential.
That's awesome.
It is.
It's incredible to think this tech isn't just about robots moving like us, but about helping us move better, too.
Yeah, there are some really exciting real-world applications for these gloves. Schneppat goes into a bunch of them in his essay.
What really stood out to you?
Well, the thing that caught my eye was how much potential these gloves have for training, especially in virtual reality and mixed reality.
VR and MR. I can see that.
Schneppat actually mentions that some companies, like Volkswagen, are already using this kind of tech to train their workers for complex assembly tasks and things like that.
It's like a super high-tech version of those operation games we had as kids.
Exactly. Only this time you're actually learning real skills, building real-world knowledge all in this virtual space.
And I bet it's a lot safer to make mistakes virtually.
Way safer. Plus, as Schneepat points out, the haptic feedback you get from the glove, it could actually make you learn faster. Because you're not just seeing the task, you're feeling it too. It's like having an expert's hands guiding you every step of the way.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's like when you're learning an instrument, you can watch all the videos you want, but until you actually get your hands on the instrument itself, you won't really develop that muscle memory.
You got it. It's that hands-on experience that really solidifies the learning. And it's not just for learning new things either. Schneepat talks about how incredible this could be for rehabilitation too.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Like, imagine stroke patients being able to use these gloves to regain dexterity in their hands through specific exercises tailored to their needs. Or think about people with carpal tunnel being able to go about their day, do everyday tasks with less pain and way more control.
It's pretty amazing to think about, something as, as seemingly simple as a glove could have such a huge impact on people's lives.
And the potential applications go even further. Schneepat even mentions how emergency services, even the military, are looking into using these gloves for training purposes mostly. So, like, you could have firefighters practicing rescue techniques in a virtual burning building, or soldiers, simulating combat scenarios, all without any real danger.
So it's kind of like a flight simulator, but for your hands.
Exactly. All the benefits of real-world experience, but in a completely safe environment. I think it's pretty clear that this technology has the potential to change so many fields in such a fundamental way.
It really does. But Schneepat doesn't just stop at the practical stuff. He goes even further into, the more futuristic possibilities.
Oh, yeah, the really mind-blowing stuff.
Now you're speaking my language. What kind of enhancements are we talking about here?
Well, Schneepat mentions things like being able to learn to play the piano or type at crazy speeds, all thanks to that supercharged muscle memory development we talked about. Imagine learning a new language, or even a complex surgical procedure in a fraction of the time it takes now. It's like, I know, it almost feels like we're blurring the lines between what's human and what's machine, It's exciting, but also a little, unsettling.
I get that. And to be fair, Schneepat does acknowledge that there are, ethical considerations that we need to think about, especially as this technology keeps evolving. He brings up some interesting arguments from other thinkers, too, folks like Yuval Noah Harari, who suggest that, maybe we're on the brink of this radical transformation, where it's harder and harder to tell where the human ends and the machine begins.
Oh, that's a deep thought. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does it even mean to be human in a world where we can enhance ourselves in such profound ways?
That's the big question, isn't it? And that's where I think Schneepat's essay really shines. He doesn't just lay out the tech and its uses, but he actually grapples with those bigger implications, the philosophical ones, the societal ones. Right? It's so important to be having these conversations now, while this tech is still relatively early in its development. We have to think critically about the good and the bad that could come out of it and make sure we're steering things in a direction that benefits everyone.
I totally agree.
It really does feel like we're at this crossroads, with this whole muscle memory glove thing. On one hand, you've got all this amazing potential helping people, overcome physical limitations, achieve things they never thought possible.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, there are all these, almost philosophical questions, right? Like, what happens to humanity if we keep blurring the lines between what's natural and what's artificial?
It's a lot to consider, that's for sure.
It is. So I guess for our listener, for someone who maybe isn't dealing with a hand injury or, isn't dreaming of becoming some kind of piano virtuoso overnight,
right? Why
should they care about all of this?
Right.
Why should they care about muscle memory gloves?
I think, and Schneepat kind of hints at this too, is that this tech, even though it's still pretty new, it gives us this sneak peek into the future, It makes us confront these really basic questions about what it means to be human, especially as technology keeps advancing at this crazy pace.
I see what you mean.
Whether you're excited about all this or maybe a little freaked out by it, it's going to shape the world we live in. And the decisions we make now, they'll determine what that future actually looks like.
It's a call to action then.
I think so.
Yeah.
To not just be, passive consumers of whatever new gadget comes out, but to really be informed, be engaged, and think for ourselves.
Be critical.
Exactly. And Schneepad's essay, it's a fantastic place to start. It gives you the background, the how it works, even, kind of a framework for thinking about the ethics of it all.
So as we wrap up here, I want to bring it back to our listener, the person listening in right now. We've talked about a lot, everything from the early days of cybernetics to all the ways these muscle memory gloves could, I don't know, enhance us, maybe even redefine what it means to be human. What's the one thing you want our listener to take away from all this?
That's a good question. I think more than anything, I'd want them to walk away with a sense of wonder and curiosity.
Wonder and curiosity, I like that.
Because, this technology, it's still so new. There's just so much we don't know yet about what it can do, what it can't do. But that's also what makes it so exciting, right? It's this invitation to, I don't know, use your imagination, think about the possibilities, be part of the conversation.
Yeah, I love that. A sense of wonder, a sense of curiosity, and maybe a little healthy skepticism too, right?
Yeah.
To keep us all grounded.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We've got to be critical, got to ask the tough questions as we move forward with all this.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, if our listener is as fascinated by all this as we are, definitely check out Schneppat's essay. It's a great read, and it will give you even more to think about.
Who knows, maybe it'll even inspire you to get involved in this field, be part of the next big breakthrough.
Hey, maybe you'll be the one designing the next generation of muscle memory gloves. Well, that's a thought to end on. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, everyone.